Hi, my name is Ted M. Young, and this video is extracted from my Twitch live stream where I refactor from test code into test data builder. And the reason I do this is because sometimes the setup part of a test can be pretty verbose and often repetitive. And in this video, I basically take existing code and refactor my way to create test data builders and show both how to refactor it and how the end result makes the code and tests much more concise. So here we go. I think this is actually a good candidate for test data builder. So what I want from a test data builder, and you can already see, even though this is nicely isolated in a factory, is I've got sort of different configurations. So sometimes I specify a repository, sometimes I create one automatically. I don't always use it. A lot of my projects actually are on JitterTed. So all of my classes are taught under Ted Young, but a lot of the stuff I do on stream is under JitterTed. So those are probably the more interesting ones, other than my kid bank, which is still on Ted Young. Someday I'll move that. And there, I don't know if that's come up. That gets you right to this project. So what I want to do is I want to be able to, if I don't specify anything otherwise, go ahead and create a new in-memory repository. If I don't ask for an ID, I want to be able to either build a member or I just care about the member ID. So sort of lots of variance both on sort of incoming parameters, right? Sometimes I specify roles, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I specify the ID. I don't think I always do that. Maybe I want to generate it. So let's take a look at this one. See how it's used. Yeah, so I'm laughing because it's like, oh, look at that. 10 lines of setup. And so part of what the setup is, so the way I do tests, it's almost always sort of the core domain stuff are real objects, and that's why they're actually a little bit painful to set up, because a huddle, in order for it to be valid, it's got to have an ID and got to have a name. So for me, the test data builders build real things where I'm able to substitute one thing for one thing or another. But I'm almost always creating a real huddle. You generally don't, at least I generally don't, I don't test double my domain objects. I test double all the other stuff, repositories, other port implementations, basically any ports are what I test double. Otherwise, I want pretty much all real objects. They may just be pre-populated. Is that what you were asking? Now I'm not sure. So some of this I've already got the huddle factory for, so that'll save some time. Custom queries will wreak havoc on repository fakes. Yeah, if you're getting into custom queries, I'm not expecting my fakes to emulate those, but that shouldn't be a problem from a test-driven standpoint, because you basically pre-program the fake to return whatever it should return upon execution of that query. So you hopefully know in the test what query it's going to run, right? Is it going to run the show only available huddles? In which case, I'm only going to code in these are the huddles, because I'm not testing the query. The query, especially, I mean, unless I'm not testing a query against indirectly. If I'm concerned that the repository, that maybe I don't understand the repository implementation, or actually I'm doing a full custom either SQL or object like SQL, then I'll write tests directly against the repository, and that's an integration test. Yeah, I don't have a lot of custom queries yet, at least in this app. All right, so what I want to do is here, there's a whole bunch of setup work. Yeah, if you've got any of that kind of special stuff, you want to test that directly against the repository implementation. And then you can just assume it works in other tests and not have to worry about it. So let's split this. I want to do this. Actually, let's split it this way. Okay. Splitting this is kind of weird. So in this case, the reason why I'm passing this in as a parameter is because I need it because it's passed in here as well. So it needs to share that member repository. So if we swap those, does that still work? I don't think that order matters. Okay, so that's fine. The reason I swapped it is what I can now do is when you have a test data builder, it also has state, and you can actually query, hey, can you give me the member repository? Because I'm going to use it to build this other thing. Eventually, I'll assemble multiple test data builders so that I don't even have to sort of pass things around. So what I want here, what I'd like it to look like is member ID equals new member builder. I'm going to assume it has a default repository, and then with member, for now, I'll basically just give it all of this. I don't think I care about the ID. I'll grab the ID separately. Yeah. With that. Oops. So build will return a member, and then we'll be able to say get ID. I think that's what I want. So let's go create this class. Yes. And no. Okay, so you're going to go there. And then with member, we'll create that method. No, member builder. I'm surprised it did that. This is first name. This is GitHub username. And this is email. Do I reference this? Yeah, I reference all of this information. Now I could split out, so it'd be with first name, with GitHub username, with email, and for the other stuff it would just be defaults. For now I'm just going to do this, and then I can expand it as needed. So we're going to return this. And now build is going to return a member. Why do you think I'd be returning a huddle? And so now this is going to do new. Actually, this can call the member factory, create member. My assumption is it's going to put it in a repository, so it should be saved. So we'll do private final member repository, and we'll default to an in-memory one. So we'll create a member. Oops. That's where the pi came from. Option P. I was wondering, it's like, what key typed that? I want. I actually want one. I guess I just want to instantiate it. Yeah, let's just do that. So we'll do this. We will do member equals, we'll save it in the repository. Ooh, look at that. And then we will return that member. So member builder is going to be the more flexible version of member factory. Eventually I want to get rid of member factory. So I'm basically sort of driving it sort of through what the test needs from the builder. Because eventually I want to start building up builders, pun intended, that are more sophisticated. And eventually, because I want to get rid of all this yucky setup. All right, so this we will create a field for, and create a field for. And that should be lowercase n. And that should be lowercase n. Okay. And member email. No, I don't think I need to make it generic. I don't think there's any generification that needs to go on here. It's more, I want to be able to say, basically create a huddle with a member that has this information. Create a huddle with this link with this date and time. Actually, a lot of that will just be default. It's like, create a huddle, use defaults, create a member, use this information, and then I can pull the huddle and the member information out as I need it. If necessary, I can pull out I can have it create a huddle service. I can have it create the member service. So all kind of the connecting stuff gets done for me. All right, so this should be the equivalent other than the ID. Let's see. Member ID 0. Did I assume 99? Oh, right. So it did not put it in the repository in the same one. So now let's inline this. Let's take this out, and we're going to actually get the member repository from the builder. So we're going to need to hold on to the builder. and then we'll get this from the builder. All right. And so this is one of the things that I had a problem with, is sort of this service was using this in-memory repository, and then this other service was using a completely separate in-memory repository. I mean, to a certain extent, like, there's an aspect of sort of building a dependent, not quite an inversion of control container, but kind of. Yeah, exactly. Mainly intent, but there is a bit of an aspect of that. Yeah, because like it's holding on to the things that I need to create, but very much customized for my use. So for example, like the spy email notifier, I don't want to build that separately. I want to be able to get that from the builder. So let's go. Now, whether the member builder is the appropriate place to ask for that, maybe, maybe not. I'm thinking maybe not, because this is more about the huddle service. But at least everything around member is now coming from the member builder. So is this cleaner? It's not like it's, I mean, this is technically more lines of code. I don't like how it's, I don't like how it's indented. That's kind of better, maybe. Hey there, Bubblecast. Can you tell me Java rules? I could. So I'll be honest, I don't answer questions that you can Google. If you want to know the difference between Java and JavaScript, you can find that out. Happy to answer higher level, interesting questions, but if you can Google it, I'm not going to answer. Yeah, so Do to add to, so now I need basically another builder, one that deals with huddles, that may then incorporate the member builder itself. But let's look at some other tests. Yeah, that should totally be static at least. Yeah, I don't know why that wasn't static. Okay, so all of our tests pass. And let's go look for other tests. So let's look at the registered members test. This one is, we could replace with, here's where, so there's this tool, I forget if I've actually shown it on stream. I actually did a video of it called Open Rewrite. And what it does is, in a sense, refactorings and things that are not refactorings, but also are sort of global changes that you'd want to do. So an example would be, I want to update all my tests from JUnit 4 to JUnit 5. Some of that stuff is fairly straightforward. Just replace JUnit with, whatever the package for JUnit 5 is, so just swap the packages. But then some of the other things like disabled versus ignored, some of the parameterization. So there's a bunch of things that you'd have to manually repair, but it's mechanical. And so what Open Rewrite does is it's a way of describing those mechanical changes, but not as a search and replace. So not text-based, but actually understanding the structure of the application. I don't know style cop, so maybe. So you can do things like, I actually used it in the video I did on, which is on YouTube, to upgrade an old Spring Boot 1.5 project to a current Spring Boot, and it had to apply the JUnit changes and then the Spring Boot changes and a bunch of other changes, and it had some errors, but most of it worked, and it saved me a lot of manual mechanical effort. And so it would be great to sort of do. It would be nice if there was like hopefully they'll get there where you can sort of quickly write a plugin. Like, I want to replace all my member factory stuff to use the builder, but you could maybe do it as a search and replace if you're fancy with the regex, but you'd really want to do it at sort of the deeper structural level. So. Tilted, if a job advert asks for a degree, would I apply anyway? If they're implying a computer science degree, then yes, I would apply anyway. I don't think anybody should have in their job requirements a computer science degree at all. There is nothing you get from a computer science degree that anybody should be putting that up as a requirement. You will find that among companies that again are mostly recruiting is run by their HR, and they don't know. They just by default, oh, this is a professional position, you must have a degree. Yeah, GamesMan doesn't have a degree. I have a degree, but these days, and I've hired bunches of people, dozens of people who well, maybe not dozens. So probably interviewed dozens, if not hundreds, who didn't have a degree. Almost makes no difference. Yeah, I mean, it is, the degree does not, all roads lead to why I think computer science degrees are awful, but on this stream, but so I won't go there. But yeah, you don't need a degree. Go ahead and apply. Anyway, so let's go replace this with using our builder. So with member, first name, GitHub. So here is a case where now I need to expand the builder so it'd be very tempting to have the builder have another method for with member that took a variant of the arguments, but no, now I'm going to break it down and say, okay, now I want with first name, with username, and so on. So let's split this. So it's basically with first name, name, and then with GitHub username of that, and then I want build. So let's go create this. It returns a member builder. First name, that, and this. And then let's move this up. And then this gets converted to with first name, first name. This will extract actually as a method with GitHub username. And this can be public now. And then except it returns member builder. And then return this. And this one we can also extract to with email. And that works. And that can be public. Whoa. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Nothing more for me to say. Okay. So now we should be able to delete that and use only the builder get ID. So let's go that, and that. So if we run our tests, they should continue to pass. And they do. So what else do we need here? So first of all, a couple of things about this way of doing it. It's technically more verbose than it was before, but I think it's more clear. All right, with first name, with GitHub username. So in a way, it's being able to apply sort of name parameters. But then any improvements or changes I make or any defaults, I don't have to sort of propagate everywhere. So that's all cool. I think we can do the same thing here. And in fact, we don't care about the first name and the GitHub username. So in fact, this is noise for this test. So we can actually get rid of this. So let's apply some defaults. And then we can get rid of this. Oops, not that. We can get rid of that. So now we have just the essence of what we need for the test. And in fact, I might just do that. And so then for this test, we can just do that. That should still work. Yeah, because sometimes I actually need to specify things, but other times I don't. That test is fine. That's fine. I may have to go into the member factory and do stuff, but this is now part of setup. It's part of setup. Right. I haven't cleaned up the big ones yet. I'm basically just dealing with ones that are creating members. So let's find new member. Let's take care of let's go look at this test. So here again we have this thing because we use it to save it, and then we use it to create the member service. So let's delete that. Let's do should probably have default roles. If they're members, they should have default roles. So let's do that. Role user and role member. And then when we create the member, we should say roles. Oh, Fluxus, all your methods are all your builder methods are static. So how do you chain them? You have to show me what you're talking about. Okay, so now what we want to do here is new member builder. Do I care about any of this? Yes, for this one I care about the email. And that's it. So with email, which is this. Whoa. Then I don't care about anything else. I don't care about the roles, so I can delete that. I want them to get saved. That'll happen upon build. I'll create another one. Build, and then member service. Do I need the member itself? No. So then I can take this, extract this, and put this in here. So this returns a member service. Wait, what? No, that's not what I want. Wrong place. So it's build, but I want to hold on to the member builder because I need the service. And so this is member builder, member service. And we'll create that. Return new, oops, return member service. This will get built upon build. So we'll create a field for that. And then when we build, where's the build? Here, we will also say member service equals new member service, passing in the member repository. What was it saying about this? No, who cares? Okay. Did I miss something about Lombok? Oh, I might be overusing Lombok. Yeah, I mean, Lombok can create builders. I don't do that. Yeah, bubble costs. What I'm doing right now is all these tests work, and so I'm just making the tests more concise by creating some what are called test data builders. Oh, I should actually, I know it's a little late, but I may as well put that into done and then put this into doing, so at least everybody for the next 5 minutes knows what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm creating what are called test data builders to make it easier to create the test data for the tests. So we got our builder with email, build. Not sure what to do about this one. Do I really need this? No, because I've got a test for if they don't have an email, they don't get it. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why I had that line. So not sure why I had that there. Okay. So already this is smaller, and it's what's nice is that what's left here is more concise, right? I had a lot of detail that was needed because the constructor needs these things, and this thing needs this other thing, and it pollutes the test with basically unnecessary information. So now it's like, okay, I have a member builder. I want one of them to have this email. That's all I care about. The spy emailer I'll have to deal with because that's for this. But I don't need to know about how the member service got created. It will connect to the correct repository. That's what's important. So it'll reduce the number of times like I mentioned before, have multiple repositories for the same thing unintentionally. Did I run the test? Let's run the test. Awesome. So I think, at least I would say, this is way more concise than what this was before. Because what it was before was all that. Nice improvement, I would say. Now we can fix this one up. This one is so new member builder. Come on, there we go. And we want, do we care about the first name? We do care about the first name. So that'll be the first name. We don't care about their GitHub username. We don't care about their roles. We do care about their email. So we can get rid of those 2 lines of code. And then we can say build. And oops, assign it to member. Think that's the same. And it is. So much nicer. And this is so for me, there's 2 benefits. This is the typical main benefit of a builder is you don't have to specify everything if you don't care about it. Even though the underlying objects need the GitHub username, need identifiers, need the roles. For this test, those aren't important. And so the builder basically hides that. And so now it's showing what's important, which is I do need the first name because that gets specified here. And I need the email because that gets specified there. Everything else, not needed. Right, and the builder pattern uses the pattern of returning itself while you're using it, so you can keep calling other methods on it. And then once I build it, it returns the main thing that it's meant to build, which is a member. Yep. Even here, so if I go member, builder, new, here I'd have to explicitly say with no email to override the default that it has an email. And actually, that's all it needs. So let's create that method. So return this, and we set email equal to string. Yeah. So here, now it's really clear I want it with no email, as opposed to I created a member, but I didn't set an email. So again, much more clear. And so now if we look at what the builder looks like, right, there's a bunch of methods. This one, do I need any more? I think we're going to switch this because I don't care about some stuff. So let's do that. Do we need this? Yes, we need that. Do we need this? No. Do we need this? Yes. So here we'll say, instead of with member, we'll say with first name. We don't care about that. With email. And now again, irrelevant stuff is removed. Not in production. I mean, this is the member builders in tests, so it will only be in used in tests. Yeah. Make an IntelliJ plugin that does the .var and charge for var usage. I can't afford that. So let's run our tests, make sure we haven't broken anything. And so here's a case where we're doing some heavy refactoring on tests, relying on the tests to continue to pass to let us know that we've done the right thing. Yeah, no, you know how often I've had to untrain myself from using .var. Yeah, no. Even at a penny, I don't think I could afford it. So now that this is no longer used, we can get rid of this. I'll leave the GitHub username even though it's not currently used. Let's run all our tests. And hey, we created, we haven't used it everywhere yet, of course, but we've created the beginnings of a nice member test data builder. Let's move this down. Move this up. Yeah, it might seem a bit odd that it's creating repositories, but in general, my tests, a lot of my tests are already creating them, and this is responsible for sort of everything around members. Unless I'm testing the repository explicitly, in which case I would allow you to inject the repository. But so far, that clearly the tests I've been doing, they didn't actually care about the repository. They just wanted to make sure that it was the same one that was used in the separate services. If the builder were in prod, then I wouldn't be doing this, because in prod I don't instantiate repositories. But in test, this is fine. Dota's attitude. No, I mean, it's a builder. Builder is a completely separate design pattern. So I thought I said that. This member builder is not in prod. This is only for tests. You can tell because it has a background of green. I am creating realistic members. Sorry if that was confusing. Like, I'm creating full-fledged member objects, but not that are production objects. Yeah, okay. I thought that there was a miscommunication there, so yeah. One thing I've learned is you can always tell the background color of the tab. If it's green, it's test. Yeah, so by real, I meant realistic. So that was the confusion, yeah. So there's some facade-like aspects in that it makes it cleaner and an easier way to work with it, but it's very much just the builder pattern, which has some essences of facade. This code is not at all about the database. This code could care less about the database. This is all about if a member has an email, they get notified. If a member does not have an email, they don't get notified. Nothing to do with databases here. I need repositories, but they're actually, from this point of view, they're all fakes. It uses the in-memory repository, but which is basically a fake. All right, let's run all the tests. I don't see how I could have broken anything else, but hey, it's happened before. And then I think we're done, because it's dinner time here in California. That's right, it's late for you, right? You're 4 hours ahead. Yeah, I'd be asleep by now if it were 10:30. Yeah, and I'm gonna next time. I don't know. Let's see. So next time I might work on the huddle one. There's still a bunch more places that I can apply this builder. Next time I'll do the huddle one because I might want to create huddles with certain types of members and that kind of thing. So, yeah, my pleasure. This will probably go into the writing that I'm going to do later on. So, all right, all the tests passed. I'll go commit. Created member builder for simplifying and clarifying tests, highlighting what's relevant to the test and hiding what's not. Also make sure services are all using the same in-memory repository. Yes, there's definitely, you could argue that why am I building up all these realistic objects in a test? Couldn't I just use a mock and check stuff there? And there are a lot of cases you could. But I prefer realistic objects that are executing the real object code than mocks. Yeah. Oh, Knuth books. I've got lots of copy of Knuth books. Unless you're really into the math thing, I think you might have other things that are better reads. Yeah, I mean, this is super reusable. Honestly, the clarification and simplification is less important than I keep making the problem. I kept running into, I was using 2 different repositories, and that was the most annoying thing. So that, for me, is actually more important than the other stuff that I get. Yeah, if you really want the really in-depth stuff, sure, but yeah. I have the Knuth books. I can't say if I've ever read them since college. I carry them around from place to place, and they're heavy. But I don't think I've cracked them open since 1990. All right, I think that's it. I think we're done. Yeah, usually it was pretty obvious if I was using two different in-memory repositories disconnected from each other. The first time was like, huh? The second time was like, wait. Third time was like, oh, this again? Thanks for watching. I hope that was interesting and perhaps useful to you. If you are interested in seeing more live coding, you can catch me on Twitch at jitterted.stream. You can also ask questions and find me on Twitter, where I'm known as JitterTed. Thanks for watching.